Hi guys, it's Frank here, and as you can probably tell from the background, I am at the Manila International Auto Show 2026 at the World Trade Center and adjacent place. It's busy as always, and I thought I just want to invite you to have a completely random walk around this event with me. Now, the other guys from Visor, from the team, they are here somewhere. They have various jobs to do for various brands, as we very often do at these events. I have nothing to do. So my plan is that I have no plan, which is not only the slogan of my life, but it's also the plan for today. So join me on a completely random walk around. Let's start in the truck section and then fight our way through the different halls. What I want to try and do is give you a bit of a different angle, because there's so many vloggers and influencers and media here, and they all tend to do the same stuff and the same content and the same shots, and I always try and think a little different. So hopefully I can show you some of the bits that the others missed, something that's interesting and something that's worth watching. So join me on a seriously random walk around the Manila International Auto Show. And it's good to see electric trucks here, because with the fuel prices up, everyone is suddenly interested in electric trucks. And if you look at this thing, you can even have an electric semi-truck. That's the battery pack, which of course, if you charge it the right way, and I'm really surprised there's not more solar in this country, is a lot cheaper than filling this thing with diesel at the moment. Can you imagine the diesel cost? How much is it to fill up a semi like this if it was a diesel? Let me know if you know. So 10 million pesos for an electric semi-truck. Seems cheap, doesn't it? 200 kilometers range, is that enough? Let me know in the comments, and let me know if, so I'll put my name on the media list, because I don't think I have contacts with them yet. Let me know if you want us to try vehicles like this, because we tend to focus more on the passenger cars, right? But maybe you want us to try electric trucks or vans or something like that and tell you how practical they are. Because I was saying before, when I spoke to Dennis from Mober, his phone hasn't stopped ringing. All the transport companies are now phoning him, because he's the electric pioneer with logistics. And I want to switch to electric trucks. And it's not that easy. There's a lot more behind it. So look out for the interview with him, which is really good, gives you a much deeper insight of, you know, how hard it is to actually run a fleet of electric trucks in the Philippines if you want to do it properly. No car show is complete without test drive area. What do you notice here? A lot of electric cars. Apparently, I mean, look at the car park over there, right? It's still full. People are still coming here. But I have a suspicion the car park is full with people who drive petrol and diesel cars and who are now looking to buy electric cars. Are you looking for an electric car? Seems everyone is right now. Must be the British corner. Interesting bit about this Mini, it has a German number plate, which I know use a lot of people as, you know, backdrop for their local plates. But German plates, you can always tell where the car is actually from if you look at this sticker. Well, every city and every district has its own letters. These letters you can choose, and the numbers you can choose if they're available. This is fixed. So this car is from Teltow, which is East Germany. So he's a long way from home, although it's probably just the plate, not the car. But there you learn something really useless. The German cars, you can tell by the plate where in Germany they are registered. And if you move house, by the way, if he was to move from here to, say, Munich, then he would have to switch plates from this TF to an M plate. M is Munich, B is Berlin, and so on. So yeah, useless knowledge for you there. Here's a literal look behind the scenes. And I know some of you will use this to criticize the whole electric car movement. At least if you were in Europe, you would, because there's a lot of people who are anti-EV for some reason. I think we can coexist, you know, petrol, diesel, and electric. Use it for whatever it's best. But so this is the funny part, right? There's the BYD test drive thing, and they have a charging station. And there are all the diesel generators powering the whole thing. And it's not just these. Look at this. There's a whole row. There's all these trucks here. As long as you can see. The old diesel generators to power a car show that is now really pushing electric cars. It's a bit weird, isn't it? See all the supercars there? They always turn up. Or you can go to BGC on Sunday and see them at Burger Circle. Do they still do that? Used to do that, right? I'll tell you one thing. This country, I used to love supercars and sports cars and everything, you know, as you should if you're German. I mean, we're petrol heads. But the Philippines has really put me off those kind of cars. And maybe you agree or disagree, but it's just, of course, they cost twice what they cost in Europe with the luxury tax. But it's more the inequality here, and I'm going to sound like a socialist or, I don't know, do-gooder or something, but like my German brain, we have poverty in Europe, right? No doubt about it, loads of it. But not on that brutal level that you have here. And this inequality between, say, seeing these people on Sunday in Burger Circle, and then going 5 miles down the road to Tondo, seeing kids having to eat pak and garbage, literally. That just didn't compute with my mind. And that just has sort of put me off material things anyway. But it has really put me off luxury cars. I enjoyed testing the Lotus, which we had recently, which is 10 million pesos, which is, you know, luxury, no doubt. But it's sort of on the lower end of it, but it's a luxury car, and I enjoy driving them, and I enjoy driving cars, and I've had luxury cars. I've had a Bentley, I've had a Jaguar back in Europe. I would not drive a sports car in the Philippines, personally, never. Even if I had loads of money, I would never ever drive a sports car here. It just, in my mind, in my European mind, maybe it's different for you guys. In my European mind, it just feels wrong. Sorry, it's just my opinion. They're beautiful cars, and everyone can do with their money whatever they want, as long as it's legitimate money. But not suggesting in any way any of these cars aren't bought with legitimate money, but you know, it's the Philippines. But yeah, personally, this country has put me off material things in general, but super sports or sports cars in particular, because it just doesn't feel right for me. You may be different. Yay, finally inside. Let's have a look what we're looking at here. BYD over there, MG. I never forget, a few years ago, when MG was first here, they put one of the, what's the two-door convertible? Was it a ZF? The little two-door that they built in the 90s. They put one of them on a rotating thingy here as the star car of the show. And I found that so funny because if you know them in the UK, they're not great cars. A colleague of mine had one, it was constantly broken, it was garbage. But here they put it on a pedestal as an example of an old MG. And it's probably hard to get one of the really old ones, you know, like the originals from the, I don't know, 60s, 70s. That would have been cool. Those you expect to break because they're old British cars, but MG is no longer British. You know, Morris Garage is now Chinese, which in terms of engineering, it's probably a good thing. There's nothing against the Brits. Their cars are beautiful to look at, but having owned quite a few, Jaguar, Rover, you know, I've been there, I suffered. They're just rubbish at engineering. Actually, just on MG, I do like the Cyberster. What's it called? The Cyberster? The convertible. There aren't enough electric convertibles in the world, because in Europe I have a convertible, but it's a petrol. It's just an old pre-owned Mercedes. But I would love to have an electric convertible. Now, in my naivety, when I first moved here 15 years ago, thought, Philippines, sunny country, surely everyone will be driving convertibles. No, nobody drives convertibles here. But I would absolutely love an electric convertible, and that Cyberster, is that how you say it? That does look really, really nice. So MG, if you have a test unit, I would like to have a go, because that's the kind of car I can get behind. Electric, convertible, sporty, and I think it's reasonably priced because it's electric and Chinese, right? It can't be that expensive. So yeah, we need more electric convertibles because that Tesla Roadster is never going to happen. Now I've been going to car shows, being German, of course, since a very young age. I remember going to Frankfurt to the IAA, which is at the time used to be the biggest one in Europe. With my dad, we used to drive to Frankfurt from my hometown Bavaria, like a really long day trip just to go to that big car show. And I think the main thing that I noticed now, between growing up in the, I'm a Xennial, right? I'm between Generation X and Millennial, so I grew up with the cars of the 90s, 80s and 90s, you know, the proper Mercs, the time when engineers were in charge at German car manufacturers. You know, the W140 Mercs, the E34 BMWs, that's my world, that's what I grew up with. That's the cars that I saw new in the showroom. And you know, my rich friends back home, I never forget, one of my friends, his family is super rich, he had a 600 SEL W140, which was insanely expensive at the time. And I remember doing our homework in the back of it on those little wooden tables on the Autobahn. While we were driving, his mom was driving us to Munich. And I look up and I see the car, she's doing 250 on the limiter, and you couldn't feel it. You know, those were proper engineered cars. But the main thing I noticed, my point is, from car shows back then to car shows now, it's not just the fact that there are a lot more electric cars now and hybrids. Electric cars are nothing new. The first ever Porsche was an electric car. But there's so many manufacturers that 10 years ago, or certainly, you know, back when I grew up, simply didn't exist. Like there's so many names, and mostly are Chinese, you know. That's just really shows you how things are changing. I mean, where are the Germans? All I see is Chinese and Koreans. What's happening? Our world leadership is going downhill really fast, it seems. So yeah, that's the biggest difference I noticed, you know, is so many more brands, and so many more brands that seem to be popular. I mean, everyone's now looking at electric cars, so is the time over for the Germans? Maybe. It's not looking good for us, is it? I think one key aspect, and this is going to be in the minds of a lot of consumers here, certainly wouldn't be on my mind, is resale value. So all these new brands here, right? They're all lovely, and the quality is probably all right, and they all come with warranty and, you know, all that stuff. And they're all electric and cheap to run and whatnot. But what about resale value, right? These, especially the newer brands. And I know people here, consumers here, are price conscious and resale conscious. Now, if you buy a Toyota, you know it's going to have good resale value because it's a Toyota. Or a Nissan, or you know roughly have an idea, you have more confidence. How do people feel about buying a Chinese car? For example, like, do you buy them to just drive them into the ground for the next 10 years and then resale value doesn't matter for you? Or are you worried about resale value with these? Like, do you see the cheaper price and you're tempted to buy it now because you want to save on diesels, which is completely understandable? And by the way, I did a test. If you check on Visor, I put the link in the description. If it's possible to drive an electric car in the Philippines if you can't charge at home. I did a test a while ago. BMW gave us an i4 and I drove it for a long weekend. And yes, it was totally possible to do that because I can't charge at home. I'm in a condo. But you know, So are you buying an EV now to save cost? Because they're cheaper to buy and of course you don't need diesel? Or, are you worried about the resale value and you don't care about the resale value because you want the savings now, which you sort of have to offset against the resale value, right? Or are you worried about the resale value of all these new brands? I'd really love to know what people think, what consumers think here. Because nobody knows what can you tell me what this thing is going to be worth in 5 years? I can't. I don't think anyone can. Because it hasn't been out for 5 years. Now we just bought a Hilux GRS, as I was saying, but I was really tempted with this actually, the BYD. But here's the thing, and I can say this here because I'm not getting paid by any car brand. Personally, I would not buy a Chinese car at the moment. Not because of quality, not because of price, not because they're not any good, they're very good cars. We went to, where are the guys? Here, GWM. This one here, the H9, that's the one we flew to China. GWM flew us to China together with a lot of other local journalists. And we tried that one out in the mountains in Baoding, which is sort of outside, 3 hours outside of Beijing. And it's a fantastic car. This thing, for the price, this is solid. And very capable off-roader. Personally, at the moment, I will not buy a Chinese car. Like I said, not for the price, not for the quality, but for the mere fact that I cannot live in the Philippines and buy a car from a country. And here you need to remember that every single commercial company in China is owned by the state. Every single one of these car companies is state-owned. Okay, that's the only way. It's a communist state. And I cannot live in the Philippines and buy a car from a country, from a state-owned company, where the country is bullying the Philippines. And of course, I'm talking about West Philippine Sea. Don't call it South China Sea, it's not. It's the West Philippine Sea. South China Sea is further north. I just can't do that. It's maybe a bit weird that a German would be patriotic towards the Philippines and not buy a Chinese car. But that's just my opinion. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're okay with it. And I know a lot of things are made in China, of course. Most things. The phone I'm filming this with is made in China. So it's unavoidable. But this, I think, is one of the big ticket items where consumers can make their voice heard. And maybe you'd rather buy a Korean car. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Maybe if things relax in the future and China becomes more friendly and respectful towards the Philippines, I'll be happy to buy a Chinese car. But for the moment, I wouldn't even take one for free. Actually, I would, and then I would sell it, but you get my point. Actually, I drove this one as well briefly when we were in China at the test track. Looks like a house, it's the size of a house. Handles fantastically. It's like a sports car. It's insane. Very, very quick, very precise. Really good car. And just to clarify, right? The fact that personally I wouldn't at the moment buy a Chinese car out of principle, out of political views, doesn't mean I can't be fair towards them when it comes to reviewing them, writing about them, and giving you unbiased news. Because they are good cars. The GWMs that we tried, they were fantastic cars. And I remember one thing, BYD, everyone knows BYD, right? Because a lot of you are buying them. Apparently they are just flying off the shelf behind me here. When I first test drove a BYD here, the German and me, and I think it was a BYD Dolphin. There was a test drive up to Subic with BYD Philippines. The German in me really did not want to like it because it's Chinese and it's cheap and it's, you know, competing with us. And even I had to concede, it's really good. Like, the build quality was solid, it drove fine, it was quiet, it was refined. Now, there are still things where they're not as good, but this is just a matter of time. To give you a funny story here, briefly, and to give you a bit of German thinking, I'm going to try and see if I find a screenshot of it. There's a German journalist who writes mostly about politics, but sometimes he does a few car reviews. And he drove a BYD not too long ago. I think it was actually a Dolphin or one of them. I'll dig out the article, show you a screenshot. Give you a German mindset, right? Most people, most media here would look at it from the outside, we would sit inside, we would maybe, you know, I'm trying to squeeze and rattle and dislodge interior parts. I'm famous for wrecking interiors, because if they can't, you know, stand out, then they're crap. This guy not only did that, not only drove the car, tested it, charged it, etc. He went to a garage, to a casa, put it on the ramp and looked underneath at the welding. And the one thing that he criticized the car on was that the welding on the frame underneath was not up to German standard. Like, how much more German can you possibly be? But he had a point. The welding was, you know, not that great. So is that car going to last as long as an E34 BMW? If the welding's not up to scratch? I just found it so funny that, you know, the one thing a German reporter would do is actually look at the welding of the car. Okay, while we are looking at all these electric cars here, maybe it's time to briefly talk about batteries. I actually owned an electric car until not too long ago, back in Europe. I had an original BMW i3, you know, the boxy one, the carbon fiber thingy. Bought it pre-owned, quite cheap. They're becoming classics now. Amazing car, loved it. Mine was the range extender, which had a tiny battery, but still perfect for the place I lived. I never used the range extender, it just, for everyday driving, it's beautiful. And there are still sort of stereotypes and some people walking around going, oh, batteries, the batteries never last, and you know, it's gonna blow up and it's gonna burn. It's like, guys, it's not, you know, 1890 anymore. Petrol cars blow up too. It's just that some people put videos of electric cars blowing up more on the news than they do with petrol, right? I would have absolutely no concerns about it. Our i3 had the tiny unit, the original battery it came with. They put it in a bigger unit in later units. Ours was an old 2016. Never had any problems. It was checked once a year, because electric cars, you still service them, but essentially what you do is you check the brakes. You know, the only thing I didn't like on the i3 was the brakes. You never used them very much, but when you used them, they were tiny, tiny, tiny for a BMW. They're like shopping trolley brakes. So they had to be replaced quite a lot. It's more my driving style in the car. But the battery was checked every year for health. And the car was, when I sold it, was I think 8 or 9 years old. It was being used every day. It had about 50,000 kilometers on it. And the battery was still 90-something% healthy. And that's a tiny older battery. That was the original that BMW brought out in the i3. Since then, batteries have gone much, much better, much more advanced. You know, the batteries that are in these things like BYDs and Havalls and whatnot, they're way ahead of that. And safety-wise, I have absolutely no concerns with them. Like, seriously, they will not break in a year or two, you know. And the stupidest thing is, people then go, oh yeah, but if the battery breaks or if the car is old and scrapped, then you throw the battery away. It's like, no you don't. The battery is super valuable in just recyclable materials alone. So you don't throw the battery away. It's of immense value. You get the value from recycling or you sell it. So all these stereotypes, not true anymore. Okay, electric cars are very reliable. I mean, there's one moving part in this engine. There are hundreds of moving parts in any diesel or petrol engine. Have a think logically, which one is more likely to break? So no, electric cars these days, having driven one for years and really loved it, I drive one straight away again. In fact, I'm thinking of buying an i3 again. I've escaped the main hall into the side hall, which is more the accessories and, more importantly, die-cast models. I used to collect them. Actually, I used to collect 1 to 87 size, the model railway ones in Germany. They're super popular. Herpa and Viking, I think, were the two brands. And I only used to collect Mercedes, of course, being German. So let's see what we find around here. I've never understood why people here put, someone explained it to me once, why people here put like German number plates under their local plates or get German plates instead of the local plates. Like, it's not something we would do in Germany. We wouldn't put a Filipino plate under our German plate. Makes no sense, right? But it's one of those things. Whatever you like on your car, as long as it's legal, do it. We don't care. But yeah, German plates, you can buy your German plates here. And like I mentioned outside with the Mini, if you see German cars, you can tell where they're from. The first 2 or 3 letters of the number plate tell you where it is from, which town or region or city. So big cities have their own, like Berlin is B, Munich is M, Hamburg is HH, Hansestadt Hamburg, Trading City Hamburg. And then some of the smaller ones have full regions. So where I'm from, Garmisch-Partenkirchen in Bavaria, we have GAP. And that's the whole area, so that's not just the town. Then the second letters, it's usually 2 letters. You can choose them, and the numbers you can choose as well. If they're available, you can have it. So if I want GAP FS for my name, and then 888 for lucky, if it's available, I can have it. Right, this number plate clearly doesn't exist. There's a running joke in Germany. Bielefeld is a city. Their plate is BI. But there is a running joke that Bielefeld doesn't exist. It's a hoax. It's like, if you're Australian and you have the drop bears, well, it's our national joke is that Bielefeld is like a conspiracy. The city doesn't actually exist. So this number plate clearly does not exist. Look it up, the Bielefeld mystery or something it's called. And, I forgot one thing. H at the end of the letters means historic, if your car is more than 30 years old. And E at the end means electric. The other thing that always confused me here is, or that I found weird, how it was a big issue that the LTO couldn't get number plates printed? I never understood that, because in Germany, or even in the UK, in Isle of Man where I am, if I register my car, say I buy a new car, want a new plate on it, I go to the local post office, who handle the registration now, I put my form in, and then I go next door with my document that shows I own the car, and it's my name now. And I literally go next door to the accessory shop, like this little stand. And I make my plate there and then. Instantly, immediately. And then I put the plate on my car and it's good. So I never understood why here, A, the LTO has to do the plates, and B, it takes ages. It's a piece of metal. Like, maybe someone can explain to me. And yes, you're going to say corruption and blah, blah, but I never understood why number plates were such a thing here, why people are waiting for number plates. It's like in Germany or in Europe, you get them done right, like the guy is literally next door to where you register your car. It's next door. You go out, you go in, you get your plate, you drive off. One of those things. When you get older, the priorities when looking at cars really change. When I was younger, I would have liked a car that looks good, that drives fast, that's exciting. You know, typical male show-off behavior. We've all been there. Don't pretend you haven't. Now, stuff like this looks very appealing to me. A car that's easy to get in and out of and that's really comfortable when you're stuck in traffic. That's my priority now. That's nice. I want that. I want nice seats. I want a car that I can, you know, get in and out without any bones crunching. The older you get, I think the worse this gets. So yeah, now it's about comfortable cars and not sporty anymore. Just that I see that Tesla there. Is there actually a Tesla stand? I didn't see Tesla next door. I don't think they do car shows, do they? Personally, I wouldn't buy a Tesla. No reason with Elon Musk or anything. You know, there's people who, oh, I won't buy Tesla because of Elon. I don't care about the guy. I mean, he's done a lot of amazing things for a single human being. So, no, I've tried quite a few of them and I just don't like them. I just don't think the ride quality and everything is quite where it should be. I know they're popular. They're not bad cars. It's just, I don't like them. You see they had RWB die-cast models. I was just tempted to buy one just so I can crush it. I didn't. But I'm well on record as having a very deep dislike towards RWB, if not to say I hate them. Everyone's entitled to like their own cars, right? It's fine. If you're into them, cool for you. If you want to spend your money on some Japanese dude so he can take a hacksaw while he chain smokes and cuts your Porsche to bits, go for it. It's your money. Personally, can't stand them. I think they're completely overhyped. And just, you know, I've seen Civics with better fitted body kits. So it's just because, I think part of it is because I am German and I grew up with those model cars. I saw them in the showrooms and, you know, was a passenger in them when they came out. And I know how nice these cars are and I know how much effort goes into that from German engineers and how they work and how they love what they do. And to then just see some Japanese dude, no offense to him, but, you know, it looks like in your mouth hacksaw cutting up this car that's so perfectly engineered. Is just, my German mind can't cope with that, okay? So RWB, completely overhyped in my mind. You can totally disagree with me. You can think I'm an idiot, I don't care. I cannot stand them. Same, to be honest, I have a dislike towards Liberty Walk and even towards cars like Manzori. I know they have their clientele, but they're just not for me. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I just need something more understated. I don't know. Right, I'm back in the main hall for a last look. I'm pretty much done here, to be honest. I think I've seen enough of my face and the cars, but I looked at the map, the exhibitor map and the exhibitor directory. BMW is listed as this stand, but this is Auto Plus. And, you know, these are beautiful cars, nice BMWs, but it doesn't really look like the current lineup, does it? What you would expect at a car show, at a consumer car show. Although they are from RSA Motors, which is, you know, the guys here, and they're beautiful. But that's it. That's all the BMW here. And where are all the other ones? Where's Mercedes? Volkswagen, fine. We know they gave up, which is insane, but it's what it is. Where's everyone else? Like, am I missing something? Is there a different area or something? I mean, in a normal car show, right? Even if this was, say, the Bangkok one, you'd have all the other brands where this is not the Manila International Car Show. I think this is the Chinese International Car Show. I think that's the thought I can leave you with. Strange, very strange. Anyway, I'm bored now, seen enough. So I'm gonna head off because I will try and get the bike show in, which is up the road. Because if you live in the Isle of Man, Southern 100 Racing, of course, I guess I will have to show up to the bike show because I need some local contacts because I have some projects planned here. So, well, there you go. So that's all I can show you from the China International Auto Show in Manila. Hope you enjoyed that random look. See you around.